a review of the ATS Co-Pilot. This little guy right here. So as you can see, we're sitting on the road right now, and so we have a green light. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah. So we got a green light on. So if I wanted to change my mode, so I was on level 2, it's level 1, 2, 3, and 4. I typically like to run it on setting number 4, just kind of where I found my preference. But we're going to go ahead and drive so you can see what the Co-Pilot does. So this is on setting number 4. So right now we have a green light. That basically means everything's hooked up, ready to go. So you let off the brake, you start rolling, and the green light goes out, which is normal. And we're just gonna do a kind of a normal acceleration. So you can see the torque converter locked up, green light comes on, signifying that. There's 5th gear. And 6th gear. Alright, so the nice thing about this is I have the ATS overdrive tuning on this truck as well. So with that, I was able to adjust my shift points as high as they would go. That way the transmission pump has more RPM to build pressure on before it shifts. So that way you're not really lugging out the transmission and not getting the proper line pressure to hold that, the torque these trucks produce. So again, just some normal driving again. I know this isn't the best view, but I don't really have a mount I can put my phone on and stick it up there. So kind of just accelerate a little bit. So there, just kind of rolled in the throttle, and this does have a bigger turbo. This is a S464 turbocharger, so it's going to take a little more RPM and fuel to get going, especially over stock. So the torque converter unlocked, let it bring up the boost. The Co-Pilot monitors your boost pressure and lets you, build the boost that you need. And then once the Co-Pilot reads, basically, hey, we got enough boost, I'm gonna lock this torque converter. And then the torque converter locks, and you're putting some power on the ground. So that's what, my biggest takeaway from this Co-Pilot is it just optimizes the way this transmission should run with the modifications that you have. It's not a cookie cutter. This is it. It's constantly monitoring everything. So here, it's start sunny out. So here, I'm just going to get on it a little. This would maybe signify if you're towing something. So, kind of. Torque converter locked in 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. Okay, so we saw there the torque converter lock going directly into 3rd gear, and that is probably my number 1 favorite thing, because in first gear, obviously you don't get torque converter lock up because nothing locks up in first unless you have a manual, of course. And then 2nd gear, this thing says it locks it down to 2nd gear. I'm sure it does, but I don't really see that. I think maybe if we're gonna do a launch and see how it performs, maybe it does it on the launch, and it just happens so fast. Maybe I don't really realize it, but that lockup in 3rd is so nice, because you guys know when you put it to the floor, you basically are just spinning all that horsepower around in the torque converter, and being able to actually put that power to the ground. I mean, that was my number 1 complaint with the 68 RFE, is I didn't feel like I was getting anything on the ground. And so here we're gonna go and put it just gonna do kind of a little launch. We're not gonna get going too crazy. So I'm gonna go ahead and build a little boost here. Bring it up. This is about 10 pounds of boost. There we go. So as you can see there, let me take it up full drive. Okay. As you can see there, turbo did lag. I needed to launch a little higher boost pressure just to get the turbo going right off the line. But as you can see, the transmission, I mean, I don't want to say bangs as a bad thing, but honestly, it really bangs through the gears. I mean, and this ATS transmission is tough. To be able to take that kind of abuse, especially, you know, I go to the drag strip with this thing, I truck pull with this thing, and I don't have a single worry in my mind about, oh, I might slip the overdrive clutch, or oh, I might, you know, that first gear sprag thing, which I don't fully understand, might break or whatever it is. I have no concerns whatsoever. Before I had the co-pilot, positively, I was worried about my overdrive clutches. But now, knowing how much the line pressure increases, no concerns. So we're gonna go ahead and do another, there's kind of a hill up here, so we'll get, so I don't know if you can see in the speedometer, when that torque converter locks up, if you can see the speedometer really start climbing quickly, but I mean, it pulls really hard, and I made 0 modifications to this truck between without the co-pilot and with the co-pilot. And honestly, if you took, I wish I'd have went to the drag strip prior to putting the co-pilot on, because I was probably running maybe a 13.5 if I had to guess without it, and now with it, I'm down, I can dive into the 12s depending on how hard I launch. So you're looking at I mean, maybe, I wouldn't confidently say a full second, but you're gonna definitely pick up power. And so that's where, you know, if you're looking at saving money and putting it towards like a bigger CP3, or you're gonna put it on injectors, or you're gonna put it towards a turbo, or you're gonna, you know, do push rods, the valve springs, and maybe a balancer and do more RPM, whatever it is, I would hands down buy the co-pilot again. I mean, it'll wake your truck up, is what it feels like. It feels like the truck has another, I call it probably at least another 70 horse on the ground, down low. Now, and then when you get up high, you don't have to worry about exploding those overdrive clutches, which we all know. And if you're like me, you know what it feels like when they start slipping, and then you can barely drive the truck down the road because it'll slip as you're just trying to accelerate. It hits 4th gear, slips, and then you go into limp mode, and it's no fun. So here we got a little stretcher run. So we'll go ahead and put it in 4-wheel drive again. And just one last shot for you guys. So we did the normal driving. Normal driving, it just is like, wow, this thing shifts really good. Towing, it doesn't unlock the torque converter unless it absolutely has to, which is so nice, because I don't want this thing downshifting and revving up. I don't have a gas truck. I have a diesel. I want to, you know, chug a lug up this hill, like a semi. I mean, that's basically what these trucks are. And then lastly, racing. Oh man, that first and second gear lets my turbo get going, and then the second you hit 3rd gear, the torque converter locks up, and you better be holding on. That is the cool thing. And even coming from 1st to 2nd in 4-wheel drive, this thing does break the tires loose on the track. On the street, I might get a little slip, but 1st to 2nd, it really hammers down. So it's not, I think maybe it even pulls the torque converter a little tighter than stock. So here we go. We'll do one more, and then yeah, I would highly recommend buying one. So here we go. Let's see how much boost we can get off. So get a little more, bet a little more. Yeah, it's about 15. Anyhow, yeah, you launching a truck like one of these with this tuning on it and let that transmission really pull its weight, you won't be disappointed. So hey, hope you guys have had a good time watching this, and call ATS if you have any questions. Those guys, they're in the tech support group. They know what they're talking about. So all right, see you guys.